Hey, it's Dr. Kate Walker. Welcome, welcome. I am interviewing Nicolette Wax today, and I'm in Maine and she's in San Francisco. So it's super cool that all this technology works. She's going to talk to us today about SEO, and she's going to gear it towards beginners. So if you're advanced, don't tune out because maybe she'll talk about something that you don't know. If you are a beginner like me, tune in and let's see what we can learn. Her website is Home Cooked Roots. Her Instagram handle is Home Cooked Roots, and she specializes in vegan recipes made easy. And really, that's kind of, you gear that toward beginners too, don't you, Nicolette?
Yes.
That's pretty cool, because I know we've got some vegans out there. I'm not one, but yeah. I love your recipes and I love your pictures and I watch them and I want to make the recipes anyway. It's amazing what she can do with a camera. It makes everything look good. So, Nicolette, talk to us about SEO. What is SEO?
Yeah, so SEO, I kind of like to think of it as just optimizing for search. So creating the best possible experience for someone that is looking for something on their phone. So that's one thing. People are all on their phone now. I think 80% of searches are done on mobile devices now. And so something that you want to think of for SEO purposes is my site mobile friendly? So 10, 15 years ago, when people were having their sites created for their businesses, they were creating them to be friendly on a desktop. So now we kind of want to think, is my site user friendly on a mobile device? Is it going to load for a mobile screen? That kind of thing. But SEO is really just creating the best possible experience for someone searching for something. So you want to, if someone, like in my niche, if someone is looking for vegan mashed potatoes, I want to create a post that is going to answer all of their questions about vegan mashed potatoes. What can they substitute? Are these pictures helping them if they're new to cooking? Can I show them how to make it step by step? Do I have a video? Things like that. And so for beginners, SEO is really just to create the best user experience for whatever someone is searching for.
So you take us to a space that a lot of counselors love because they're all introverts, and that is producing content, posting it on their website. So blogs, videos, even podcasts. But what is SEO? Like, how could someone like me, a beginner, go into a blog post and optimize it or get it all SEO'd up?
Yeah. Okay. So if you were to do a search for SEO online, it will probably get really overwhelming. There's going to be a lot of recommendations, a lot of words that like even I don't even understand. And so it can get really scary. You're like, no, I don't want to do this. But there are a few things that you can implement even today if you're, not tech savvy. And my top three, I would say, are one, keyword research. Using tools that are going to help you figure out what people are looking for, right? Because say, for example, you want to teach people about how to manage their stress. This is just an example I think maybe will ring true for your audience. So you want to teach people how to manage stress. If you write this amazing blog post on how to manage stress, but no one's looking for it, no one's going to find it, right? So you want to find those keywords that are going to target content that, one, you're interested in, but two, people are actually looking for. So that way it's discovered. And that's something that you can do really easily. There are tools like I use Key Search, and I use it for food, but anyone can use it. And what you do is you just type in like stress, for example, and it will pull up all of the different searches that happen on a monthly basis and how many people are searching for them. And use that to guide how you're writing articles, right? So you wouldn't want to write an article on something that's getting 20 searches a month when you can write an article on something that's getting 1,200 searches a month. So using a tool like that to help make decisions on what kind of content you're going to create is really helpful for SEO because you're creating literally what people want. And then another one that I love is image optimization. So something that happens on web pages, especially for recipe sites or sites that are really image heavy, is if you haven't compressed your images, they're going to be really large files. And when someone pulls up your web page, it's going to take forever to load. And we're kind of living in a world now where people have no patience. So if your site's going to take 3 seconds to load, they're leaving. So using an image compression tool that is going to smush your images down into tiny files without compromising how they show up on the page is going to be super awesome for increasing your web speed.
Oh, I've never heard of that. Give us a tool. What's a tool we can use?
Yeah. So I use Short Pixel. It's really cheap. You can buy like little packages where, like, if you have 500 images on your site, you pay like $10. You add the plugin to your site, and then it runs through all your images, compresses them all into tiny little files, and makes your page load way faster. This doesn't take any really knowledge, expertise, nothing. You just download
I'm doing that today. I'm doing that today.
Makes a huge difference. Yeah. And another thing is if you are uploading images, you kind of want to be conscious of how big the file is. And so something I will do is, if you have Canva, I think a lot of business owners use Canva, you can choose how big the file is that you export as. And that's something I'll do. Like, I'll export it like 50, 60% just to give it a head start in terms of crushing that size, and then crush it even more when you get it on the website to load it quickly.
Great.
And
that's wonderful. No one has ever told me that. I like that.
Yeah. And that doesn't take any training, nothing. You just download it. We'll do it for you. So it's great. And then my third one that I love is link building. So if you're a beginner and you have a brand new site and you're trying to get traffic to your site and get new customers to your site, it's really helpful to do like some sort of networking in your niche and get other websites to link to you, because anytime another website links to you or recommends you, it's like a signal to Google, like, hey, this is a good site. And the more votes you get for your site, the higher the chances that Google is going to recommend you in a search. So if someone searches counselors near me, and you have tons of other websites linking to you, they're probably going to boost you up in search. Wow. And you're going to come up higher because all these other people have told Google, this is a good site.
So counselors, think of that for a second. You could be creating these blogs that other people want to link to, right? Whatever your specialty is. If you're EMDR, if you focus on infidelity, grief, kids, if you're creating content and another practice wants to use that content, you could absolutely cross-pollinate and help each other out.
Exactly.
That's a fabulous idea.
Yeah. And it kind of ties back into SEO, and you want to create the best experience for the user as possible. So if you're creating content that's really shareable, it's really helpful, it's really inspirational, it's more likely people are going to recommend that website or that blog post you wrote because it's super helpful. And so that not only increases your chances of your web page or your blog post you wrote getting viewed, but it also boosts your authority on Google because other people are recommending it too. So
give us a little snapshot of your audience. I know you don't want to brag, but toot your horn for a minute. I mean, tell us about your audience. What are we talking about with you?
Yeah. Oh, so I created a vegan recipe website. And so the SEO that I'm doing is a little bit different because my audience isn't necessarily local. I'm not teaching local cooking classes. I'm not meeting anybody in person. I'm not trying to get, people in my city to come to me necessarily. I'm trying to get literally anybody, because anybody can make these recipes. And so I have created a site where I'm sharing recipes, and I plan to, share some resources and tips and shopping guides for vegans, but reaching them in a way that I'm creating content in alignment with what people are searching for. So I'm getting traffic to my website from recipe searches and things like that. Does that answer your question?
Yes. And when I think about marketing, so using SEO for marketing, You're creating this wonderful experience for the user. Your end goal is to have a bunch of people click, right?
Yes.
You want them to click on your site, download your stuff, and the next step for us would be, setting an appointment or a phone call so that we can talk to someone in person, right? And then we can do our magic and see if it's a good fit and do what we do. But so how is SEO used for marketing then? Did I just say it, or is there's something else there?
Yeah, so SEO is used for marketing to, I guess, like in terms of what your audience is looking for, it's going to boost you in the rankings, right? So that's what everybody is competing for, is to rank number one. Like if you are a counselor in San Francisco and people are searching counselors near me, you want to come up first, right? Because the more eyeballs you get on your website, the higher chances are that you are going to book a client or get an inquiry or get someone to recommend you because they came across your content. So everyone is competing for that first spot. So in terms of marketing, the more eyeballs you get to your stuff, the higher chances are you're going to grow your business.
Now, when you do marketing, when you've got your blog, do you then make sure that it aligns with your Instagram and it aligns with, I don't know if you Facebook or all the other things? I mean, does the SEO work that way or not?
So you're saying, does the SEO work that I do on my website, does it boost my social media?
Does it all work together? And I know this is a very beginner question, but I'm asking it like the reason sometimes people don't understand when you're doing SEO, it's literally this keyword, like managing your stress. That's 3 words, managing your stress, right? And you've got to put that in key locations, right? So you can do that some of us have a back office where we can put it in, the Yoast section and okay, there's our keyword. But there are other places in the blog that you have to put those 3 words exactly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you use it on Instagram and then you have links there, everything kind of starts working together.
So I would say that keyword research isn't really a big thing on social media. It is a bit more on Pinterest, but in terms of Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, people aren't using those platforms for keyword research, right? Like if you log into Instagram, you're not searching for something, you're kind of just scrolling. Like you're not going on there and looking for something specific like you do in a Google search box, right? So keyword research isn't super helpful, or it doesn't like if I write a really great article about stress and I post about it on Instagram, my Instagram post isn't going to get more people seeing it because I did the good keyword research on my website. But that's one of the things that I love about SEO and keyword research and building organic web traffic is it's kind of giving me permission to not be on social media if I don't want to be. So like I would consider myself a really private person. And with the way that social media is now, you kind of have to like be personable on there to gain people's trust. And if that's uncomfortable to you, you're kind of like stuck because you're like, I don't want to put my face, but nobody is going to connect with me on a personal level if I don't share a little bit about my life, right? So I love the SEO side because it's kind of given me permission to step back from social media if it's feeling uncomfortable. Like I took 6 months off of Instagram this year. I didn't post anything. And my business grew because I focused on the organic search. So that's something that's really great. If you're a person that, like you had said, introvert, I'm a huge introvert. I don't want to be dancing on TikTok. And I don't have to because I'm doing the keyword research, right?
You hear that, counselors? I just gave you away off of social media if you were looking for one. Nicolette just gave you away.
Yeah, for example, I didn't post anything or work on my blog at all in July. I didn't post anything. And my web traffic and my ad revenue, it stayed the same because I built my website to be a little bit passive in that way, where the traffic is coming organically, so I don't have to be constantly driving traffic. Now, if I had built a business model where I was driving most of my traffic from social media and I took a month off of social media, that would probably have a really profound effect on my page views and the amount of people coming to my site, because I'm no longer doing that work to get them there. Social media, if you're going to drive traffic that way, you kind of have to be comfortable with being present there all the time, because if you're not, it's not like keyword research. People aren't searching, they're scrolling. So if you're not showing up when they're scrolling, you're not coming across them. They're not coming across you. But if you're building your traffic for your web page and people are specifically searching for something in Google that they need in that moment, you're always going to come up because it's evergreen.
What does evergreen mean?
It means like, it's not like a holiday thing. It's not like a in the moment thing, like an article on stress that's evergreen. That's going to be relevant for 10 years. People always need that no matter what.
I love it. All right. So this wasn't one of the questions I gave you, so kind of off the cuff here. Step 1, I'm going to write a blog. Now, should I just start writing, or should I do my keyword research first?
That's a very good question. And the answer is do the keyword research first, simply because I've tried to do both. Because especially for a recipe site, if I just make something random for dinner and I was like, wow, that was amazing, I want to share it with people, I write up this whole blog post, I do all the pictures, and then I go and look for the keywords and I'm like, shoot, nobody wants this recipe. That's really frustrating, because if you wrote this amazing article about stress or whatever and nobody's looking for it, that is going to really be frustrating. It's not a good ROI, right? It's not a good use of time to write articles that nobody is looking for. So I would always do the research first. I do think you can probably find what you're looking for no matter what. So say, for example, you do have articles already on your website and you want to go check to see if there are keywords associated. Chances are you can find something. You can probably find a keyword that's going to work for what you wrote, but it's always best to just make sure before you put in the work, right? Because otherwise, I'm always thinking in terms of ROI, is doing 10 hours of work on this post going to be worth my time if 2 people are looking for it a month?
Okay, so before we write, do the keyword research, then write. Now, what about that H1, H2 titles, and what is all that about, and where do my keywords go then? Because let's say I've done my keyword research and it's holiday stress management tools. Let's say that was the words, those are the words that I'm going to try to put in my article because they ranked high. Where would I put those words?
Yeah, good question. So you definitely want to put it in the H1. I almost always try to make the H1, which is also just the heading of the article. I always try to make it the keyword as close as possible, because if you kind of get it, say it's like the holidays, but then you write it in a really not, you mix it up and it's not exactly the keyword, it kind of gets confusing for Google. So I try and make it as clear as possible. Like if I'm going to write an article on vegan apple pie, I want to make my heading vegan apple pie, because then it's as clear as possible. Now, for the other headings, I would kind of avoid continuing to put the keyword in there, because then it starts to look like what's called keyword stuffing, where you're kind of trying to just rig it to rank you for it because you're putting the keyword in so many times. And Google kind of flags that as unnatural writing. So something you want to keep in mind when you're writing a post where you're targeting a keyword is you still want it to sound natural to a reader, right? Because that's the best user experience, and that is also good SEO. So avoid recapping the keyword too many times in headings. You do want to write it a few times in the post, because you need to have it enough where Google is going to understand what your article is about without it sounding robotic, if that makes sense.
Well, the good user experience, like you said, you're writing for someone to enjoy it, not to yes, we are writing it for marketing purposes, but really we're writing it for enjoyment for the reader.
Right. And so something I use to check the keyword percentages, so I try and get the keyword that I'm targeting. So what was your example? Holiday
Holiday stress management tools.
Holiday stress management tools. If that was my keyword, I would try and get the keyword percentage in my post at least 1%. You don't want to have it too high because then that sounds robotic, right? It sounds like you're trying to rig the system. But I do try and have it over 1%. And I use this extension called SEO Quake. So after I've written an article, I will run my post through SEO Quake and look at the keyword density and make sure enough of the keywords are high enough in the article. So that way, when Google runs it, they can say, okay, holiday stress management tools. She's talked about this enough where I think that's what the article is about. And so if someone were to Google that, I'm going to recommend it because that's what this seems to be about. So that's a really good thing to use. It will help you make sure you're not keyword stuffing, and it will help you make sure you have enough of the right words in there where you're going to get ranked.
Okay, so holiday stress management tools, let's say that's ours. We're going to put it out there. We looked and we saw, oh, good, that ranks, or we're a beginner and we're like, ooh, that's a topic that ranks. I'm going to write an article. And that's something you could even go back and rework every once in a while to for different times of the year or for different occasions. It's just, you don't want to write the same article over and over with different, right, with the same keywords. It is a good idea to rework it because Google will figure out what you're doing, right?
Yes. And so if the keyword is holiday stress management tools, you could leave it, but update it on an annual basis. So that way it looks fresh. Like if I do a Google search and I'm looking for holiday stress management tools, I'm probably more likely to click on something from 2022 than I am from 2015, simply because it's newer and I think it's going to have newer information for me. So it's a good idea to update your content every year, especially if it's a holiday piece, just to refresh it. But then if you want to create something that's more evergreen, which will be appropriate year round, you can create another post targeting another keyword. I wouldn't target holiday, right? Because it won't be about that.
Right.
But that way you can have two posts. But you're right, you don't want to like be targeting the same keyword over and over and over again, because then you're competing with yourself in Google, and Google doesn't like that. Okay,
good. Yeah. All right. So you've been surprised by your posts that rank, haven't you? I mean, you're not really known for your margarita recipes, but
yeah.
I mean, I guess you are actually.
I know, it's just really weird. So even if you do, this is something good to keep in mind. So even if you do the keyword research and even if you do everything that you can to rank as well as possible, don't get too attached to what you think is going to perform, because like I feel like the weirdest posts that I have are some of the most popular, and there's just no rhyme or reason sometimes.
It's the margarita recipe, right?
Margarita recipe. Yeah. Like I'm a vegan site. So like I don't specialize in cocktails. I don't do a lot of alcoholic content, but for some reason that's like one of my highest ranking posts, which is just really strange. It's great because like my end goal is to get as much traffic as possible. That's like my business model. But in terms of like who's looking for a margarita, I don't think it's really vegans, right? So
I don't know, maybe.
It might be.
Maybe.
But yeah, so that's just another thing. Like you kind of never know how something's going to perform. You want to do your best, but then like it's out of your hands. Once you put it out, like Google handles it.
Everybody right now, go Google. It's margarita recipes, right? I mean, just
I think it's frozen margarita.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly. But yeah, it's like a keyword that's searched.
And
like
Nicolette will pop up. Her recipe will pop up there.
Times. I'm ranking like 6th on the page. It's very random. I don't understand.
So at the end of the day, Google's a mystery, right?
Yeah, you can do your best. Do as much research as you can as possible, and Google will kind of decide what's going to perform for you. It's really strange.
Well, and we're going for Texas. I mean, if you're watching this with Texas counselors creating badass businesses, but if you're watching this from other places and you have more of a national audience, or if you're licensed in more than one state, or your expertise maybe stretches across state lines because you provide courses or CEs or just informational material, this is a great resource for you. So I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked the topic. Nicolette, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I appreciate you all the way over on the Pacific Coast doing this. I'm on the East Coast. And so here we are, just, I don't know, how many hours apart are we? Like 3 hours apart.
Great.
This took some rocket science, actually.
Yeah,
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything else you want us to know about you and your site?
No, you can come hang out with me on Instagram if you like vegan recipes. I'm not the most consistent there, but you might enjoy the content.
The content is beautiful. The content, it'll make you want to be vegan for the night, at least.
At least have a margarita, right?
Or if you're interested in vegan, that's kind of your thing, right? It's getting beginners interested and comfortable with vegan recipes, and just even a spur of the moment on a weeknight, helping them with those kind of recipes, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much. And I will see you. This is Dr. Kate Walker with Nicolette Wax of Home Cooked Roots. Have a great day.